morning. It is Wednesday, live in the Syndicate from Austin, Texas. My name's Tony Merwin. I'm here with my good pal, Mr. Joseph Kampert, the king of Facebook groups, all the way from Redwood Agency Group. What's up, baby?
Oh man, I'm having a good morning. I got a good, I'm like excited to get to our weekly win because I've got a crazy freaking win from last night, dude. But I'm doing great.
All right.
I'm doing
I like
good.
your t-shirt. I haven't seen that one yet. That's the Mamba Redwood jersey, huh? Or t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's a new one.
That's very nice. I like that one.
How you been?
Purple and gold.
How's your week going?
I'm doing outstanding, man. Week is going great, productive. I've got a good win too. Just to go ahead and kick it off, since it is winning on Wednesdays, let's get into the weekly win. And for those of you out there, if you've got a great win for the week that you're building on, share it with us. Let us know what's cracking for you out there, what you're accomplishing and what you're proud of. I would be interested to hear about the WWE match. But we have a seminar coming up on the 23rd that we are advertising primarily through Facebook, and it's going gangbusters. We have a complete automated RSVP system for it, where they can use the QR code, or they can just text in, or they can hit our landing page and run through the form. But it's killing it, and it's popping really well. So I am super proud of it. We are going to have an outstanding seminar coming up. Can't wait. Can't wait to go out there and help some Medicare folks. So super excited about that. I feel like I kind of crossed a hurdle with some of those things. So we've been having a little bit of trouble on some of the RSVPs, but this automation that I'm using through Go High Level is cranking it out, brother. I like it. I like it a lot.
Good. I know you guys are going to freaking crush it too. So also too, before I'm about to share my oh man, it's a crazy ass win. But before, make sure guys click, I put it it's the very top comment. Make sure and give StreamYard your permission for us to see your comments, so we know who's actually commenting. I see Mr. Sean. What's up? Good morning, brother. Good to have you on here. Kyle's saying that, so it's funny. I'll give a quick little backstory. A good buddy of mine, Jamie, is in Facebook jail, and he had a question about a potential like WWE school, and they do events and stuff like that. So he's like, I can't post it, but could you post that for me? So then people thought I was trying to do a WWE type insurance thing, and I was like, oh yeah, no, this is for a buddy. But
yeah, I completely misunderstood that question when I saw it pop up. I was thinking that y'all were trying to find someone that would throw an insurance training school to teach agents, but in a WWE format. Like if they got wrong answers, I guess you put them in a headlock or suplex them or something. Like I was really confused. I was like, well, that would be entertaining to watch, I guess. But
there's no such thing as full coverage. That's funny. No, so my weekly win last night. So we had league ball, softball last night, and I should have freaking texted you too, man.
I would not have shown up,
dude.
Other than to cheer for you, maybe.
We had 8 people, and you need 9 in order to start the game, right? And we're running around the parking lot. We have 4 minutes until the ump's about to call it. And I find, at least in his late 70s, man, and he's just getting in his trunk. I said, sir, this is going to sound really random and weird, man, but can you come stand in our dugout so we can start the game and we don't have to forfeit? He goes, what? I said, please, it's not going to make sense, but we just need 9 to start. And he goes, yeah, man, I'll help you out. I'll do that. So he walks on over. We get to start the game. Well, then I told him he didn't have to play or anything. Well, we didn't have another person in time. And then the captain ended up convincing him. Dude, he went and stood out in right field. I felt so bad, man. Luckily, the players were really nice, and they didn't freaking hit bombs to him. And then as soon as he got out of the outfield, he goes, yeah, man, I'm out. And I was like, Manny, his name is Manny. I was like, Manny, you're the freaking man. And as soon as he was walking away, literally, we're up to bat. We have 2 outs, and we find somebody in the parking lot. We're down 5. We come back and freaking win the whole thing. And I was like, this one's from Manny, baby. It was hilarious. I was like, the umpire, you should have seen everybody's face. They're like, who is this guy? I found him in the parking lot, man. He said he would come stand with us. So that's
a homeless guy just standing out there loitering. I figured I'd put him to good use. I gave him a couple of dollars. Here, come stand behind the home plate for me.
Right. Literally. Exactly. That's funny, man. No, so hey guys, thank you guys so much for hopping on. I am super excited for the special guest that we have joining us today. He's got literally, he was showing me the stuff backstage here. I mean, he's got literally an entire page of just straight up freaking value driven gold freaking nuggets for y'all. Have known him for years. Even just who he represents and how they do business and everything. It's been a huge impact on Redwood and how literally from day one, all the way up until now. So super excited to bring him on, guys. And without further ado, give a quick little hand clap down low for my good buddy, Mr. Brett Schickler.
What's up, guys?
Welcome.
What's
Hey,
up?
thank you for coming and joining us, sir.
How are you today, Joe? Tony, I appreciate you having me on. How are you guys?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day in Austin. It's a little chilly. I think it was about 36, 38 degrees this morning, which dampens that post that I was celebrating over this last weekend where I thought that winter was over and I was happy to be wearing shorts, but that was short-lived. I am back to wearing the hoodie and long pants again.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Like, where do you hail from, Mr. Schickler?
So born and raised in Rochester, New York. So I am from the snowy north, and I'm just happy that today is above single digits. So I'm right there with you, Tony. I'm hoping for some warmer weather soon, man.
Yeah,
it's on the way.
Certainly excited to have you on the show. Yeah. Spring is definitely around the corner. It feels nice. I'm excited for it. I think, given the last 2 years, the environment that our culture has been in, I think everybody's excited for an opportunity this year to actually get out and stretch your legs and really enjoy a great summer. So everybody get excited. This is going to be a good one for the whole world, I believe. But anyway, we've got Brett Schickler on here. Thank you so much for coming. Why don't you take a quick moment, introduce yourself to our audience, just tell them a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what you're up to, kind of what your experience is.
Yeah, absolutely. And just want to take a second and thank both you guys for having me on today, and thank all the participants that are watching live right now for joining in. My background is all things sales. I've been a career sales professional. I've sold all things from furniture to real estate to insurance. And now over the past about 7 years, I've been really entrenched in the insurance space, primarily helping insurance agents set up their tools, such as SaaS tools for CRMs, lead management, phone systems, automation. And then I've also spent that same amount of time in the recruiting space, so helping agencies with their hiring and recruiting. And over the past several years, we've helped just under 6,000 agencies with their staffing and recruiting. So placing new hires in agencies. And that's really what I wanted to bring to the table here today. I think through a lot of conversations out there, I know we're seeing the news articles, we're seeing the headlines. Everybody has a people problem right now, and I think it's a major issue out there for everyone. So, of course, I've got some experience in that field, and I can definitely help anybody that's looking for assistance. But really, my goal here today was to give the audience some actionable steps and tools that they could take away from today's call and start implementing in their recruiting process free of charge. So that's really my goal here today, and super excited to get into it. Do you guys mind if I share my screen?
Yeah, real quick though,
No, not at all, man.
Before we get into that, I wanted you to share a little bit about, because obviously where you're at now is not where you started, right? And I think that's something that is important for agents, and maybe not even specifically because in your role now, maybe you're not actually selling the insurance product, right? But anybody that's watching, like, Brett didn't just like freaking wake up one morning and now he's like the director of freaking sales for multiple companies, right? Or even anything that you're doing in the real estate space, which a lot of people don't even know that. I wanted you to share just maybe like in the early days, like when you first really started to kind of taste those wins, right? That success that really propelled you into who you are now. And guys, like, I promise you, Brett is by far like the best presenter I've ever freaking seen on a call. Like, you feel dumb at the end of it if you don't buy what he's trying to freaking present to you. But it's amazing. Like, kudos to you. Like, it's not even bad. Like, it's so amazing. But like, what are those early days? What did those look like? And what were some maybe key turning points or key things that really you implemented that changed the game for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great question. I think, kind of to rewind a little bit, it really all started with the self-development journey, right? I realized pretty early on that, where I was at wasn't where I wanted to be. And I knew it was going to take work and nobody was going to be willing to do it for me. And some of my, first real wins I felt were, learning, right? And I think the aspiration to become a lifelong student is something that I strive for every single day. I try and learn something new every single day. But for me, I think just, making a plan to start reading every day has probably had the most profound impact on my life. I've got a small little selection of books right here. I've got a whole bunch off camera that you can't see as well. And, I make it a point to read some very useful information every single day. So, when I started my sales career, it was very humble beginnings. I really didn't know much about anything. And I was just a dumb guy trying to learn from smart people, and I really wanted to, at the end of the day, just learn from the best. And my teachers at the time were books. I got my hands on every single book I could digest, whether it had to do with sales, a positive mental attitude, really just goal setting in general, finances. And I did that day in and day out for years. Wrote my goals down every single day. That was another huge contribution. I know it sounds simple in premise, but I think if we have direction in life, it's a lot easier to achieve the goals that we're setting out for. Even if they're big, even if they seem super unattainable, just putting them down on paper every single day brings them into reality. So, I don't have any super magic formula for you, Joe. Unfortunately, I think a lot of really what I attribute my personal success to in life is just the daily grind, being diligent and forming, positive habits that, really propel you in life, and they compound, right? One of my favorite books is The Compound Effect. And it's those small little actions each and every day that slowly build, and it just separates you from the pack. And I think a lot of what we're going to kind of talk about here today kind of goes with that same mindset.
Yeah, that's freaking gold, man. And I 100%, me and Dad talk about this a lot, is like, it's the little things. And I think it's the little things that a lot of people tend to overlook, especially when we start going through whatever life has in store for us, right? You start to kind of skip the little things. But it's like, my motivation video I was just watching this morning was Kobe Bryant. And he talks about it adamantly. And it's funny too. It's like I was watching Kobe. I got my freaking Lakers socks on too. And it's like, he's like, well, but if I just do this many more shots or this many more hours in the gym over time, he goes, I am years ahead of y'all. Right. And so I love that you said that. That's freaking gold nuggets right there.
Yep. Love it. And I got to ask you, you shared one of your gold nuggets. Tony, do you have one as well too? What do you attribute your success to in life?
Long obedience in one direction.
I love it. Love it.
Don't get distracted, right? Don't get distracted. There's so many shiny objects in insurance, and you can make money in every angle of insurance, but if it's almost impossible, especially if you're new, it is impossible to do all of them, right? So pick a vertical, run deep, run hard, and that's been my motto. So I focus on the Medicare space. It's all I do. It's all I think. It's all I drink. It's all I breathe. And I run deep in it. That's it.
I love that. And I think that's, it's such a simple idea, but there really isn't a need for a plan B, right? Because there is that shiny object syndrome, right? You got to focus 110% on, where you're looking to go, and, never take your eyes off the prize. So I love that. And I think that's a really good segue. What I wanted to kind of focus on here today with the group as well was just trying to help them hire an A player in the next 30 days. I think I've spoken to a lot of agents here recently, guys, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but it seems like everybody's looking for that top talent, and not just in the insurance space, right? We're looking across the board. Everybody's looking for that top talent right now. Are you guys hearing that out in the marketplace as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Talent, whether it be top talent or it just be good customer service type people, right? Sure. I've seen agents that are struggling, and I can't remember exactly the perfect details of it, but I was talking to one of the agents here in Texas. I want to say he offered $60,000 plus full benefits, vacation. It was a stacked offer for the most part for just an assistant. Basically, a customer service assistant, and he can't get anybody to show up for the interview. They'll book the interview and then they don't show up. They'll book the interview and they don't show up. So
I'm interested to know,
man. Does nobody need a job right now?
It's not specific to that person, and they're not alone, right? I probably have
they're definitely
20 to 30 of these conversations a day, and everybody has the same problem. And I'm curious to know in the chats if anybody in this group has had somebody ghost them or no show to an interview that they were super excited about.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go ahead and if you want to share your screen, I'll go ahead and bring that up on the broadcast. Guys, he's going to kind of go through, again, kind of more high level stuff as far as team hire goes and how to find that top talent and everything. But make sure, get your pen and paper out. This is going to be all very actionable stuff, right? And so I just wanted to show that so then you guys can see that. But again, make sure you're taking notes. These are things that you can instantly implement in your agency.
Sweet.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So just to kind of, head things off, I just wanted to share with the group here a little bit about, where we started. The company was founded by these gentlemen. So David Williams and Tom Bianco, these guys have been my longtime friends and mentors. They're also the co-founders of Team Hired, and they have an insurance background. So I know that there's a lot of different, recruiting firms out there. Many of them specialize in maybe thousands of different industries. We're hyper-focused in the insurance space. And as I mentioned earlier, we've placed just under 6,000 hires nationwide. We've worked in all 50 states across the U.S. And it really has allowed us to see some of the challenges and obstacles that we really face as insurance agents when it comes to building our team. So I want to give you some ideas here on what we can do to effectively hire that A player in the next 30 days. But before we jump into that, really collectively as a group, I want us to all agree on a couple things. Number one, the type of hire that you guys are making will ultimately determine how many candidates are needed. And that makes sense, right? The more niche or the more specific that we go in search of a specific character type or skill set, it's going to require more candidates. We're going to obviously need to look through more people to find that specific skill. So just keeping that in mind. The frequency of your interviews will also determine the speed in which you achieve your hire or hires. It makes sense if we make a plan to interview, let's say every week or every other week, versus we're just going to do it sporadically whenever we get a good candidate resume come in. We're going to achieve that hire and that placement a lot faster. And then the third portion to this, and probably the most important, is the quality of your offer. And this isn't just monetary. Of course, your compensation is a component of this, but this also has impact in the arenas with your company culture and ultimately the career path. The comp, the culture, and the career path will ultimately determine the take rate of the candidate offers into physical hires for you. So just reviewing that and having a plan ahead of time. I mean, does that make sense to you guys? Would you guys all agree on all three of those points with me?
100.
Yep.
100%. Excellent.
I mean, one thing that I've always felt about recruiting and hiring, it's just another sales campaign, right? It's just another marketing campaign basically to bring them in. So, I mean, what you're laying out here in these 3 steps is exactly that. Like, how many prospects are you going to get?
Speaking my language,
the frequency that you're seeing the prospects, and then the quality or the value that you're bringing to your prospects. It's the exact same concept.
Absolutely. So let's review that historical data, right? And let's make a plan to have an effective hiring timeline. So how many candidates do you really, so the number of candidates is always going to be kind of that first piece to the pie, right, guys? We have to source application. Usually that's done through some of the major job boards. I'm sure everybody on this call is familiar with those. But from what we've seen, the average hire, you're going to need to get in front of about 100 to 200 applicants. Now, where you source those applicants from can vary greatly, but you're going to need at least 100 to 200 applicants. And assuming that you get 200 applicants, you're probably going to make contact or initial contact with about 50% of them. So that could be a phone call, an email, text message, maybe a social media direct message. So maybe 50 to 100 contacts out of our initial applications. Moving that person to your initial screening process. Now we're asking somebody to jump on a call with us and engage in conversation. We're going to do a review of their resume. This could possibly consist of an online assessment. This will reduce the group further. So we would expect about 25 to 50 candidates at this point to complete initial screening process. And once we book them for the first interview, and assuming we book every single one of those 25 to 50 candidates, you would assume about a 30 to 35% show rate, because not everybody's showing up to the interviews. I know we brought this up in the beginning of the call. We've all had those folks that ghost us. They don't show up. They fall off the face of the earth. And it leaves us scratching our head. What happened there? Well, I promise you, it's not just you. It's just the reality of the market that we're in right now, right? So let's use that to formulate a game plan. If we're going to get in front of about 30%, that leaves us with about 8 to 15 first interviews. assuming that not everyone that you meet with, because looking over the resumes and interview process that I'm sure you've done in the past, not every single person you meet with is going to be the right fit for your agency, and that's okay. So you want to assume that maybe 20 to 30% of those candidates would actually be suitable to present an offer to. Now, at this point in where we currently are in the job market, unfortunately, we've got a lot of different employers fighting for that same talent pool, right? And it's across all industries. So chances are when you present that new hire or that candidate an offer, they're going to be presented with possibly 2 to 5 additional offers from other companies and other employers. So typically what we would see, if we have 2 to 4 offers being placed, you may have one that decides to go in another direction, one may ghost you, and then that third or fourth person, they're going to be the one that decides, you know what, this seemed like the right opportunity for me, and you're going to say that it's the right opportunity for you. So it is a numbers game. Now, if you need to get 5 hires, right? So, I mean, if we lost 3 people last year and the goal was to hire 2 more people, really we need to net 5 hires. You would want to multiply the number of applicants by 5, right? So we're looking probably closer to 1,000 applicants. Now, you kind of have to look at this and really ask yourself, you know, do you have the time to dedicate to this? And if the answer is yes, then make the plan, right? And that'll bring us into our next slide. But does that make sense to you guys? I got to ask Joe and Tony here. I mean, that reduction?
The numbers game, though, is like, guys, we are literally in the insurance space specifically. We are in a numbers game, right? It's like it applies across the freaking board, right? And I always some people try to reinvent the wheel. It's like, well, the more people I talk to, the more people I quote, the more people I quote, the more people I close, right? It's like it is a people thing. It's a numbers game, and so I love that you said that because, again, sometimes it's the little simple things that people just like. It's like, well, if you're looking at these numbers, guys, and you're trying to go, I want to hire 5 people by the end of the month. Well, then you better be ready to go sit in front of like a freaking, or at least put an ad out there to try and get 1,000 freaking applicants. And I love that you said the time piece, because that's when it comes into the money and the time investment, right? Well, how much is your time worth, right? Do you have the time to go and find that top talent, or is it worth it to invest some money in order to go do that, right? But I love that you said it, because I've been saying that from day one. Hey, you want to make more sales? This is class. I'm going to coin John Wetmore real quick. Like, just do more. Just do
That's
more,
it.
Man. Like,
do more.
Yep.
The top 1% of agencies in this country, each team member is hitting 6 hours talk time over an 8-hour shift, right? Every single day when they log in, they're hitting 6 hours plus. That's the top 1%. Okay. If you're hitting 4 hours of talk time, you're in the top 25%. So, the next piece of this is the frequency. So we got the numbers down. We know we got to look over history. We got to really assess how many people we need to really, really get in front of to make that one strategic hire. Now, let's talk about the frequency of the interviews, because I talk to a lot of agency owners every day that, especially in the beginning of the year, right? I mean, January 1st, we all have the best intentions. Every single person wants to come out of the gate, crush it. They've got goals. And in order to do that, we need the people on the team in order to create that production, right? Quality people are never going to cost us money. They're always going to make us money. I see it far too often, though, where we don't have a plan in place, and the agency owner is going to take this on themselves, and they start out strong. Maybe they get that interview in week 1. Life happens. They wait a week. They get another interview in week 3. Then craziness, unloads on their life, and then they're 3 weeks before their next interview. So they have a very inconsistent pattern when it comes to those interview processes versus an agency that, say, is interviewing every single week. We can dramatically shorten that placement time down, right? So I don't want anyone on this call that has goals to crush this year to wait till Q3 or Q4 to begin your recruiting efforts. Really, this should be part of your daily process. Whether you're implementing that in-house or delegating it out to somebody else, being in that mindset of always being hiring, right? Always trying to get in front of quality people is something that I see the top agents do across the country.
Yep.
Now, this could obviously be interrupted. I mean, if you got a week where somebody doesn't show up, don't let that be the end of the world. Get right back on the horse and start booking more interviews. And it kind of relates right back to that same process. Just do more. Make it a non-negotiable to get in front of that, interview or that candidate, every week or every other week, whatever your schedule allows for.
Yep.
And then the next phase of this, if I can, there we go. The next phase, jumping ahead there a little bit. Jumping ahead a lot. All right, let me grab my right slide there, guys. I apologize. Got a little bit of a delay on my end, so it's not. There we go. All right. So the third portion to really creating effective hiring timeline is your offer, right? So the offer and the quality of your offer is really going to impact the overall take rate into hires. So let's talk about this. These are 3 C's, and we've done thousands of exit interviews over the past several years, guys, from really high quality candidates and team members that decided to go in another direction. And what we found was the reason that good people leave an agency is also the same reason why good people accept a position in an agency. And it comes down to 3 factors. Your compensation plan is obviously going to have a part of that. Your company culture, and then ultimately the career path. And I want to break this down one by one for everybody on this call here. So compensation plan, know that your compensation is in line with your market. I mean, this sounds pretty self-explanatory, but I get asked probably every single day for consultations on compensation plans and really how to present that. So for anybody on this call, just networking in your local market, jumping on calls like this, finding other agents in your area or even peers in other markets and find out what they're offering. Be willing to ask how they structure their compensation plan and using those ideas to see if it fits your model. I see that some of the best compensation plans and the best compensation plans that I've personally come across in the sales industry always provide a good, better, and best case scenario. What I mean by this is, let's say that you have a base plus commission and you're presenting your comp plan to a potential new employee. If you have a, let's say, sliding scale on commission, right? The more that they write, the more commission potential that they could potentially earn. Break that down into 3 bite-sized, easy to understand examples. So if you hit kind of our bare minimum, this is what you're going to expect to make. If you hit 100% over goal, this is what you can expect to make. And if you hit 200% over goal and you want to be the top rater in our agency, this is what you could expect to make. And now when they bring that compensation plan home to their significant other or their spouse, they have a very easy way to communicate the offer at hand. Does that make sense to you guys? Have you ever came across a lengthy comp plan that, you need a math degree to figure out what your potential, income is going to be? I mean, would that distract away from the quality of the position in your eyes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like the good, better, best.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and sometimes I think it helps to see the numbers. Like we use it's like a built-out Excel sheet, but just like, hey, look, if you do this, here's what you're going to freaking make, right? And for me, I'm a very visual learner, right? So it's like sometimes like I just need to freaking see it, but I love that you have it broken down into boom, 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 instead of like, well, maybe like in between, or if it's this, or maybe you have a down month or this, right? I think I need to have a little bit more structure on how I'm presenting like goals and premium targets and stuff like that. So that's really good.
And then I think just, being willing to invest in your people, right? So, if possible, a base plus commission is usually the most attractive, especially with everything going on right now. I know that's not feasible in every scenario, but just being willing to invest in those folks, right? Because they may be looking to make a switch. The average American doesn't have $1,000 saved up in case of an emergency, right? Now, everyone on this call knows that insurance pales in comparison to pretty much any other industry in this country or even the world, in my opinion. But for the average American that maybe say they don't have $1,000 saved up in case of an emergency, that $1,500 sign-on bonus, those full benefits on day one with a company like Amazon, they start to look much more attractive, right? So we got to try and break through that noise and do what it takes to really set ourselves apart and be willing to invest in those people up front and bring them into the team. And then you can always get a business consultant to review your comp plan, right? I always think it's a good idea to get a second opinion, whether you're networking or you actually hire a consultant. Just getting a second opinion on what you're potentially offering and see if they see any potential holes or weaknesses in the comp plan. And then the last one that I'll leave you with, and this is kind of a pro tip / golden nugget, make your comp plan 1 page, right? A 1-page comp plan is the law of a great comp plan. If it's 3 pages long, it's too long. If it's 2 pages long, it's too long. it will detract away from the overall value proposition that you're presenting that person. Now, I know what you're thinking. There might be some really important stuff that you've got in that comp plan that they need to understand and sign off on. And if that's the case, my suggestion to you would be to move that to your employee handbook if necessary. Keep the comp plan simple and easy to digest and easy to understand.
That's good.
The company culture. This is super important. So, in a recent survey done, 54% of good employees will quit because of a toxic coworker, right? I think we've all seen these scenarios, and I think it's probably what keeps a lot of business owners up at night when they're thinking about expanding their team, right? Is they want to bring on the right people. They definitely don't want to bring on the wrong person into the agency, right? And what I would encourage anybody, this is another pro tip / golden nugget, make your team part of the hiring process. Obviously, I know that they're busy and I'm not asking them to, dedicate, to every stage in the recruiting or hiring process. Maybe you're doing those initial interviews, but just being in the mindset of, hey, maybe in that final interview, I'm going to have a breakout session where my team is going to meet with this new hire for 15 minutes. I'm going to prepare a document with a series of 10 questions, and they can all go around the room and ask their own questions, and they can engage with this person. And I want my team's feedback before I bring them into our company culture. All right. This is a great way to get their buy-in and make sure that this person is going to be a good fit for the organization. I will also tell you that, employees and the way that, a lot of folks looking to, join a new company, they weigh this more often than not. They're spending more time in your office than they are with their own family. Is your office inviting? And I know this sounds simple, but put on a new set of glasses. How does the office look? Are we inspired? All right. Is it dark and dreary, or are we chasing the dust bunnies around in the corners, right? And I'm serious. I know we kind of get complacent. We get in the habit of walking into the office and seeing things in kind of the same way. I encourage you to kind of put the glasses on for somebody that's walking into your office for the very first time. What kind of impression does that leave on somebody? And then ultimately, career path. What does the career path look like for somebody in this industry, right? Nobody wants to walk in the door and on day one, they're hitting that proverbial glass ceiling, right? They want to know that there's room to expand and there's room to grow. Maybe they want their name on the door one day. Maybe they have aspirations to, help manage your agency. But figure out what their why is. What is their long-term goal? And in line with that why, help your employees get what they want. So this is another pro tip golden nugget. Here in our office, we obviously work towards sales goals, weekly, daily, monthly, yearly sales goals. But I'll tell you what's more important here. We're currently working towards a down payment on a house. We've got an employee that's working towards an engagement ring, and we're also getting ready for the arrival of a new family member because we have one of our team members is pregnant and expecting soon. So just tying those goals to a daily higher purpose, right? And really helping your employees get what they want. Figure out on day one what that why is. Why are they there, right? What is it that's going to help them really, excel to that next level if we can connect that purpose to the daily mission?
It's gold.
Speaking of gold, Joe.
You got some, look at that.
Got some golden nuggets for you.
What
I know
a
how you like the golden nuggets here. Well, I was on last week, and I love what you guys do with the golden nuggets. So I really tried, and I spent like an hour last night just kind of sitting with some creative ideas on what I could bring for the audience here today. So a little of this might be a little bit out there, but just please bear with me. I will tie it all in together. The first golden nugget is stop fishing in the same pond as everyone else, right? I had a background in a previous life where I was looking for highly discounted real estate, and still involved in the real estate world, investing world somewhat, but it used to be a huge focus. And my mentor at the time had always told me, the harder the list is to find, the better the quality of the leads. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right, Joe?
Yep.
Now, the same applies for finding your right team members, okay? In my real estate life, I once showed up at every local fire station in the state of New York because I had the idea that nobody else would go around and door knock on every single fire station and ask for a list of fire damaged properties in the area. And the more I knocked, the more no's I got, but finally I knocked on the right fire station. They said, yeah, we've got that data. I said, great. And they handed it over to me. That list was pure gold. Now, how do we tie that into your recruiting process as an insurance agent? This is a little out there. I know most won't do this, but what if you spent one day and you mapped out every retail store, every furniture store, every car lot, anywhere that had an active salesperson or customer service rep, and you went and engaged with those people. You got as many sales cards, business cards as you could, and you did your own due diligence and follow-up process. I promise you, nobody else in your community has that list.
Yep. It's good.
It's true.
Build a brand, and I'll send these slides out afterwards too. So I don't know, you guys send in the chat if anybody wants these slides after the fact. I'd be happy to send them out to Joe and get this dispersed out to the community here. But
perfect.
The next thing I will tell you is, build a brand that attracts top talent. So we spoke about putting on that new set of glasses and making sure that we're looking at the office from the paradigm of somebody that's really walking through the doors for the very first time. We want to make sure that it's not only inviting, but it's also inspiring, because we know that, hey, our team is going to want to spend a lot of time here with us. The best example that I could give everybody on this call was David Williams' office. So prior to accepting my position with Ricochet 360 and Team Hired, I had actually accepted a position with another company, and one of my best friends had recently been brought onto the team. And he said, if you're looking, I met with this guy, Dave. He is amazing. I know the type of person you are, and no promises, but I really think you should just take the time to go and talk to Dave. And I said, I just accepted an offer. I'm really all set on it. I appreciate it. He goes, no, I got to insist. I really want you to come into the office and check this out. And when I walked in there, what I saw was an Allstate agency like no Allstate agency I'd ever seen before. All glass walls, no doors. He had a full recording studio with digital background. Industry, the top of the line recording equipment. So you could record your own content and send it out to potential customers or clients. He had a full library with every sales book written on the subject: positive mental attitude, self-development, sales, insurance. He had a hyperbaric chamber. If you got a little tired, you could walk into the hyperbaric chamber. It would cool you down to negative 120 degrees in about 5 seconds flat. He had an oxygen bar. I want everyone on this call to think Google level office inspiration. Now, I'm not saying you have to go to that extent, but what could you do in your office to make it fun, make it engaging, and really set yourself apart? Create that brand image the second that somebody walks through the door. They're like, I got to be a part of this team, because that's exactly what happened to me. Then the next golden nugget that I'll leave you with here is bulletproof your employee referral program. I think we've all heard the old saying, birds of a feather flock together. And I'm sure we've all instituted the employee referral program. Hey, I'll give you a bonus if you can refer somebody over and they stay for 6 months. Obviously, I encourage you to implement that. And I encourage you to implement that on day one. But let's think a little bit outside of the box. How could we take this even a step further? I know many of you on this call are probably doing, company outings. You're celebrating wins and you're building that team morale through outings. But what if you did it not just for your employees and their spouse? What if you made it a game in the office to see how many friends, business associates, business professionals, each employee in your agency could invite and actually get to attend and show up to your business outing? Do this regularly. Do it once a year, once a quarter, once a month. When their friends, when their family show up and they see not only your generosity, but the level of fun and engagement that your team is experiencing, not just at work, but outside of work, that's going to attract top talent. I know we've probably seen, or we maybe have friends that run a business, or maybe we've had a previous career where we see that team that's almost, they're literally a family. Like, it's like the dad started working there and he referred his son, and the son referred over the cousin, and they've all been there for 15 years. Why is that? Right? Well, they built an awesome company culture, and the folks that, they're working with are the folks that they love to be around. Right? So it makes sense. If you've got some of your best employees already on the team, why not try to recruit directly in their network? All right? So that's a cool thing I think that you could do that not many are doing. Just make it a fun game to see how many friends, business professionals, and associates you could get to attend your company functions on a regular basis.
Good.
Those are my golden nuggets, guys.
Yeah, that's
Those are
good.
good.
Yeah, literally, it's funny you say that because like two of my best buds are like in the office with me, right? And it was because of my other bud that was playing softball, and then I just kept going, and then it was a good friend of his, and he was like, dang man, what is freaking Joe doing? And then now he's here in the office, and then now we're good buds, and then now we play softball together, and then now I'm talking with like other softball players who want to come join because they're like, well, freaking Austin's there, right? And I have 100%, and I love that you said that too. It's because it's about who you want to freaking be around, man. It's so important. And, I think we've all had that person that was in the office where it's like, oh, man, like, here we go. You know what I'm saying? And I've definitely, I've had my fair share of those because, I'm in my past, and really, I still am not perfect with it. I brought on some people that I was more being reactive to a situation of when you just bring on I brought on like 8 people at once, and it was toxic, man. It was so bad for the culture. So I love that you said that.
And I think, that brings up a great point, Joe. I mean, just kind of putting together a game plan and looking over historical turnover, right? I think history tends to repeat itself, right? And we don't want to think that, we're going to lose team members, but it's a part of business, right? And just looking over your historical turnover and building a plan into your daily, weekly, or monthly process, and assuming that you're going to continue to scale, and assume that there are going to be people that go in other directions, and it's no fault of your own, right? Maybe they're deciding to go into another industry. Maybe they get sick. Maybe they have a growing family. Maybe they move. Things happen. People make decisions, and things change in business very quickly. So just kind of getting yourself in a mindset where you don't want to be in that position, right, Joe, where you got to go out and hire 8 people super quick. Because then we're in a position where we're just bringing them on to, put a body in a seat, right? We're not really building that company culture, that brand image, which I think is a great point. Great point.
That's good.
Now, just to let you know, this is what we do. So here at Team Hired, we've got kind of this formula down. I've given you guys some great tools, and I hope, everybody on this call can start to implement some of this stuff. We've got a great team here at Team Hired. You can see on the left-hand side, this is a small section of the team. I actually couldn't fit them all in here. But since 2017, we have sourced over 1 million resumes. We've completed over 100,000 interviews for insurance agents. And we've successfully placed just over 5,000 hires nationwide. So if there is anybody on the call that's kind of wondering, what that process looks like, pretty easy. If you ever wanted to work with Team Hired, we've got a proprietary 5-step process. But to simplify it, we do all the work, we do all the marketing, we source the candidates, we set expectations, and we set up video-based virtual group interviews, all with local candidates directly in your job market, ladies and gentlemen. So we kind of cut through the noise. We create a nice, streamlined, easy process where you can show up for an hour, either every week or every other week, and you get to canvas all of the top talent in your market in a very streamlined and efficient phone call. We give you feedback, coaching, and consulting on everybody, and the process from start to finish is 30 days. So, you can use the tools that I gave you here today to put together a plan to hire that person, that A player, in the next 30 days. If somebody's looking at this and they're like, I simply don't have the time to do it, in weeks 1 and 2, we can build a pipeline and get those candidates in front of you. Week 3, we host that group interview, live hiring event. And then in week 4, we bring in all of your final interviews and we help you present job offers. From start to finish right now, Team Hired's average placement with a new hire is about 27 days on average, depending on where you are in the country. Okay?
Dang.
I've got some specials here for you guys, too. So I'm not sure if your group, wants some specials. Drop in the chat if anybody wants some deals, some specials.
Come on now.
Some savings.
So, hey, you already know, hey, all the syndicate members, and that's what I love too. Like, I didn't even ask you for like that. It's like you're already on the preferred vendor list too, but that's part of what this group is about. Is we're trying to really unite the industry through collaboration and honesty and transparency of information shared, and things like this, why, like when you drop so much freaking value, not only a call like this, but for anybody that's part of the movement. That's part of the disruption, I should say. Thank you. I didn't even ask him to do this, guys. And I just love that you're bought into my mission and Tony's mission and like what we're trying to do with the group. So I appreciate it.
I love what you guys are doing, and I just want to thank you guys for putting this on. I mean, you guys deliver so much incredible value to the marketplace. I've been on several of these calls over the past couple of weeks, and I have learned an absolute ton. You guys have amazing speakers on every week. I love the energy that you guys bring to the call every single Wednesday, and looking forward to being on every one into the future. So thank you for that. As far as the discounts go, I've got kind of a program here. I know that another problem that we face as insurance agents is the licensing piece, right? So a major hurdle when building a sales or service team in this industry is obviously our team members are required to get the state licensing, the background checks, all of that kind of good stuff. We've also solved this problem as well. So here at Team Hired, we have a licensing boot camp. It's a 2-week program. And it's designed to get your new hire either their property and casualty or their life and health insurance license. We actually provide the state-specific material, the online pre-licensing course, and they get the certification once the course is complete. We have a new class that starts every single Monday, so you don't have a lengthy wait time to enroll your new hire. And your new hire gets a dedicated accountability coach. I know that there's a lot of licensing options out there. I think really what sets our program apart is the dedicated accountability coach. Your new hire has a real person that is training them, meeting with them twice a day, 5 times a week for 2 weeks straight. Every single evening at the end of business, you're getting a daily progress report. And at the end of 2 weeks, we're going to help them book that state exam. If they can't pass, we'll put them back into boot camp or we'll replace that person free of charge. Now, we normally have a flat $595 per boot camp. Everybody in the insurance syndicate is going to get a BOGO offer. So whether you place a hire through us or not, doesn't matter. You can get 2 for the price of 1. So for $595, you can put 2 through that program, which I think is pretty awesome.
Oh, I didn't even know y'all were doing this, man. I was like, dang, I didn't know. Like, since when did y'all had the license? I literally just had a couple people going. A guy literally hit me up yesterday. He just passed his PNC, and I've been using this like Texas School of Man, that's freaking baller, bro. Oh, I did not know this. That's a game changer. That's good stuff.
And listen, just for your network, you guys get the BOGO offer. That's something I wanted to bring to the insurance syndicate. So that's an open offer. As of right now, I'm not putting a time frame on it, but obviously things could be subject to change in the future. Now, if anybody on this call does want to talk about, hiring programs, I promise I wasn't going to make this a full, sales pitch deal. But if anybody is looking for recruits, we have 1, 2, 3, and unlimited hire packages. I've got specialty pricing on all of this for everybody in the insurance syndicate. And if anyone does want to talk about that, feel free to reach out to me directly. That's my direct contact information. But guys, I just want to thank you once again for having me on. As always, I'm learning a ton from you every single time I jump on these calls, and it's an honor to be in the host seat with you guys here. So thank you so much.
It's good stuff,
man. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for putting together such a beautiful and very generous offer for our group. That is incredibly nice of you. So I'm sure Joe and or myself and probably some others will be taking you up on some of those pretty soon. So. Mm-hmm. Very nice. Thank you.
Literally, I'm in recruiting mode right now. So I'm like, that's freaking perfect. Love it.
Yeah, well, guys, thank you so much for having me on. And I'll be sending over a kind of a recap summary email to you guys. I don't know if it's something you guys want to get out to the network with the special deals here, but that'll be sent out after we end our call. And if anybody needs to reach me, they can email me. The phone number on the screen is my direct phone number, so you can call me or text me on that line. And I look forward to helping anybody, even if you just have a recruiting related question. I am here to help. Let me be another arrow in the quiver for you. I want to help you get staffed up. I want to help you hit your goals this year. So appreciate you guys having me on.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you again for coming. And true to our normal thing, we try to keep this at under an hour, and we are at 50 minutes. So in respect of not only Brett's time, but Joe's, myself, and everybody out there, it's Wednesday. It's the peak of the week. It's not the day to slow down. It's the day to put it in overdrive. So, we can see the weekend on the horizon, but don't let it distract you. This should be the busiest day of your week. Get out there, make it happen, make some success, and let's have an awesome day, everybody.
That's awesome. Hey, let's go. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Tony. Let's go get some wins,
Thank
baby.
you.